Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David King,
I'm Fred Cilbrith.
and welcome to another edition of Keeping It Real. On this edition, we are going to talk about life mentors, and also today we have a special guest. Freddie, you want to introduce the guest?
Terry Walden. Terry, welcome to the show.
Yes,
Thank you,
welcome to the
Fred.
show. Welcome.
Dave, thank you so much.
Uh, before we get into the topic of tonight's guest, I want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
I know you have a very busy schedule, and I appreciate you taking your time out to come on the show, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Fred made a request, and he calls me Thai guy, so how could I refuse?
So why is that they call you Thai Guy?
Well,
Because he did tell me that before we went on.
well, normally this is one day I'm not wearing a tie, but normally I wear a tie every day at work. So
that would explain it. But it's all right. Here on Keeping It Real, we kind of just relax and have a little regular
Yeah.
time.
I mean, it was cool for Fred to give me that nickname, because I do have an affinity for ties.
Bow ties are just
all.
Yeah. I've
I
never
don't wear
seen-
many bow ties, but I have.
I've never seen him wear a bow tie.
Well,
I think
I would have to
once,
say
take it
I
back.
think I would be a little bit overdressed with a bow tie on the job. So
I think I agree with that. I'm not a big bow tie guy. I like them, but not.
I,
heavy.
I have a couple of friends that that's their regular. They
Yeah.
they wear a bow tie and they look good in it. That's just their persona, and I respect
Right,
that. But for me, I probably special occasions where I probably need to be feeling a certain way to wear a bow tie.
I mean, the first tie you wore, I was thinking it's like $70. You said, "Look at this tie. It's a $10 tie."
That's right. You don't have to go out and spend an astronomical amount of money to look good.
You don't.
You guys are kind of young. You may not remember Fantasy Island, the TV show,
Right.
right? You
I've heard of
remember
it.
that. Okay. So Ricardo Montalban was the star of the show. And little short fella, what was his name? Herv something. But his character's name was Tattoo or something like that. And Billy Crystal, Billy Crystal, the
Yeah.
actor.
Yes.
Okay. So Billy Crystal was on Saturday Night Live at that time. And he would do an imitation of, an impersonation of Ricardo Montalban. I'm trying to remember his name in the show was Mr. something. I can't remember. But Billy Crystal's impersonation, he would borrow from one of the lines that Ricardo Montalban was always recognized for saying in just about every episode. And he would say, it's not only important to look good, but to feel good too.
Right.
So, for me, Thai guy, I like to present myself in a particular way. So,
Right.
It's very, very rare, Dave, that I see him without a tie. I've seen him
believe
probably
it.
once, probably 3 times in the year without a tie.
But I still have the button down on.
Oh,
Right. but getting into tonight's topic, life mentors. I mean, everybody has some kind of role model or mentor, whatever you want to call it, that you look up to or you kind of want to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. Sometimes our role models, our mentors, are not always good role models
True.
and mentors.
True.
But we all do or had one at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going down the line for Fred, for you, who is that one man or woman, by the way? It doesn't have to always be a guy, man or woman,
Right.
was your mentor?
There was a lot of mentors.
You have a lot. I'm one of them.
Dad, my father, and a guy named Myron, who helped me write my Mafia book back when I was writing it. He was the one guy I wrote everything for, but he sadly passed away from a heart attack at the age of 74.
Okay.
So,
I mean, for me, let's see. I mean, growing up, I idolized a couple different people. My former mentor, for years, was a mentor to me. A guy, well, we're kind of not getting along these days. A guy named John and Steves. We were I was in his program as a kid, and he was like a mentor to me because just he had an knack for business, and he was very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he also was, he's in a wheelchair, and that was something that he was very good at, to show that you could achieve something more than just, as a person that has a disability. And that kind of inspired me to do what I do today and everything else that I do, besides like with going to work and doing TV and show and all that kind of stuff. So that was a big mentor to me when I was growing up. Even though we don't really see eye to eye anymore, I do thank him for, all those great years of what he's taught me and has been able to help me in my life. So now I guess that leads us to you.
Sure.
What about for you? I mean, any childhood mentors?
I've been blessed to have had many mentors. First and foremost, my dad. He was certainly a significant mentor in my life and still is, particularly now that, he's 85. I'm 55. So now I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather, and we're at a different place right now. But he certainly remains a significant force in my life. But I've been affected. I've been blessed with many good people that have been mentored in my life. Richard Fuel was one of my childhood mentors, who still is a mentor to me in my adulthood, and he encouraged me to make transitions because he saw certain characteristics, certain flavor that I exhibited, and that's led me to becoming an educator. Don Cathy, Sid Green, these guys were my teachers / basketball coaches back when I was in 7th and 8th grade, and they were the best coaches I've ever had. These were some real.
Were you any good at playing basketball?
I could hold my own. I could hold my own. I mean, I wasn't no superstar or anything, but for the folks that I played with and against in the city of Bridgeport,
right,
I did okay. But those two gentlemen, I mean, this is long before seatbelts.
Before seatbelts.
Before seatbelts.
Okay.
So you're telling me back then they didn't have seatbelt on buses?
What?
No,
I didn't see no seatbelt on a bus up to date. On a city bus.
Right. There was seatbelts in the cars, but there was no laws stating that you had to wear them.
Right.
Okay, they were kind of optional, I guess.
Which is a weird law.
I know, right? But they would pick up myself and my teammates on Saturday mornings before we went and played basketball. Then they would take us out to McDonald's, and yes, cheeseburger was a quarter.
I'm not going to touch on that in our generation, as you guys know out there.
A milkshake was
a
a
lot
dollar.
more.
And the food was a bit different from the McDonald's of today.
Yeah.
But
I believe it.
I digress. but those two gentlemen were phenomenal to not only myself but to many of my friends and peers, and even folks before me and after.
Yeah.
So there's many others, but it also impacted me into my adulthood of how I build relationships, particularly with young people, and how to make a connection.
Well, I can see that. I mean, of course, so basically you want to tell the folks, like, what do you do now? So now that your grandfather, your father, your husband,
right,
and a former basketball player, and,
former DJ.
Former DJ.
Way back in the day.
Okay.
House parties.
He's got a whole list. Okay.
Dave, according to him, he had his own radio show at one point.
In high school.
He got a whole list.
We've been blessed to do a few things.
What do you do now?
Currently, my official role is that of the high school outreach programs coordinator at Housatonic Community College. What does that mean? That means I oversee what we call a dual/concurrent enrollment program, which allows high school students to take college courses, Housatonic College courses, at their high school. We high school teachers teach the course, but they are reviewed, approved, and supervised by Housatonic faculty. So I'm the grant writer, the grant administrator. I'm also the program coordinator. We're currently in 9 high schools. We'll be back up to 11 fall 16. And we may pick up a few more because we're in some negotiations with a few other schools.
Nice. So I mean,
I'm a paper pusher.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
To some degree.
So what made you, want to get into this line of work or profession?
Well, the journey started in this fashion. So I'm the youngest of 3 boys. I was always a pretty good student. And when I graduated from Central High School in 1978.
I wasn't even born yet.
Right.
I wasn't. We weren't even born
We
yet.
both weren't.
Seeds weren't even planted yet.
You're right.
I had a desire to attend one of the historically black colleges and universities. Now, my eldest brother was in what I now know as a for-profit institution. It wasn't a traditional community college or college, although he started at Southern. He then went on to computer school. And computers, of course, back then were not what we know of computers today.
Right.
And he is a computer programming manager, I believe. Okay. So he was going to that institution. My middle brother, now he was the superstar basketball player. Now, I mean that with all seriousness. He won a scholarship to Ohio University to play basketball there. Okay, so one was in computer school. The other was out in Ohio going to school, although he was on a scholarship. There's still, you guys recall when point guard for UConn?
Ray Allen?
No. Ray Allen was a shooting guard.
That's right.
Why is his name? It'll come to me. He was interviewed. He's talked about how he was hungry many times at night in his dorm room.
Right.
And I recall back when my brother was at Ohio U, how my mom and dad used to send him care packages. Now, care packages were those non-perishable foods that they would send out to him so that he wouldn't be in his dorm room hungry. So that was an example of some of the added support that was needed for him while he was at school. So when I sat down and told my dad, I remember this like yesterday. Okay.
No, that's a good thing.
Keep this in mind.
You got a good memory.
Yeah, on some things. Now, keep this in mind that what I share with you about my dad, the type of relationship that we have now. Okay. But my dad told me that night when I told him I wanted to go down to Atlanta, Georgia, and go to Clark College, I think it was then. It's now Clark Atlanta University. Okay? And he said, and this is what I remember clearly, his response. Boy, you must be out of your cotton picking mind. Okay, that was one of the euphemisms that some of our folks would use from back in the day.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, trust me, I know. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
my grandmother's very old school. So.
There you go. So, nonetheless, me being a bit independent, thinking, I really was crushed by that. And thus, I did not go to school directly out of high school. I went to work. And I started working at we had a plethora of banks in Bridgeport at that time. And I worked for one. I worked for two, but the first one was Mechanics and Farmers Savings Bank. Tie guy. I could wear a tie. You know what I'm saying? To work. I was a bank teller. And then I went to City Trust. It was a combination of maybe somewhere around 5 or 6 years. And then this is when President Reagan was in office.
Right, so like
and we had that big buildup of defense.
Yep.
Okay. And Sikorsky aircraft was really booming.
Yeah.
I went and built helicopters
Nice.
for 5 years.
You went to go build helicopters?
Yes.
My dad used to work for Sikorsky. He doesn't anymore. But
Just about any and everybody at
I
that
was
time
just
was
about to
working
say
at
that.
Sikorsky.
At one time, I think everybody was working
Okay.
at Sikorsky's. I mean, it was a good paying job.
Yes, it was.
I mean, if you were somebody that had very little or maybe no education, but had the skills to, build that, you can make a living at that time off of working.
You are exactly right, Dave. Exactly right. But I was fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity, but that was not the job for me. I was not a jeans and work boot and tool belt and toolbox.
That right there is amazing in itself.
Guy.
Because that right there is amazing in itself. Because a lot of people would have been content with, hey, I'm making good money. Why move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying. A lot of people would say, hey, why go anywhere?
In reflection, I don't think my dad was too happy with my decision to leave.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I had to make my move. Like I said, I've always had that little
right
independent streak. Then I went on to work at the U.S. Postal Service for 10 years as a letter carrier. So could you see me in a uniform without my tie, Fred?
Yeah, good.
So, I've been blessed. I had good paying jobs, had good opportunities, and I was still trying to find myself. And so, unfortunately, at one point, I was in a car accident off the job and messed up my back. And 1991, I had back surgery. It was a major, major thing. I was still young at that time. I was just crossing into my 30s. And post office job, the letter carrier, was cool. It was good money. But I wasn't challenged. Okay? And I started representing the post office at the read alouds. You remember when you were in elementary school and somebody would come in and read to the class?
Yeah.
I'd do the read alouds, and then I was doing the career days. You remember?
Right.
You have a professional come into the class or a bunch of them. They would tell you
Talk
about their job.
Their career and what they do.
Okay, I was doing that. And then I was invited into the classrooms to do some presentations. I did some presentations on Black history. Okay. Then I was invited to speak at some graduations as the, I guess you say, commencement speaker, whatever. And what I saw was, wow, this is cool. Speaking, working with young people, maybe I ought to go into education. And I went to Sacred Heart University and earned my bachelor's degree in English. And I taught at Central High School for years. That's when I first seen you, Dave.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
Folks, I just found that out before we came on. Small world, huh?
Right. And eventually went to work for the state with a college access program called Gear Up.
Yeah,
you remember that?
I remember the Gear Up program. I do.
Right, and now I've landed at Housatonic, working with dual and concurrent enrollment. So each step of the journey in education, my access to work with young people has grown from being in a classroom to taking large groups of students to visit colleges and enlighten them to what post-secondary is all about. Now to the point that I'm working in post-secondary, overseeing a program that affects, we've averaged about 300 high school students a year. So I've had a blessed journey.
I mean, and I mean, doing what you do, I mean, when we talk about life mentors, believe it or not, you're a mentor to a lot of young folks. I mean, not just one, but a bunch of young folks. I mean, because you help them have a chance to have a shot in life. And in this day and age, a lot of young folks like ourselves, it's so hard to even get an opportunity.
Yeah.
And you're that guy that gives them that opportunity.
Well, David, exactly.
So.
I mean,
thank you both.
I mean, here's the thing. All you can do is give somebody opportunity, and it's up to them what they do with it.
Yeah.
But
all you could do is give them.
But everybody, I feel, deserves a shot.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just trying to return what was given to me.
Exactly.
Because I met folks along the way that encouraged me or saw certain things in me that maybe I might have recognized, maybe I didn't. But I'm just trying to do my part to, what do you say, pay it forward?
Yeah.
And I have quite a few of my former students that are my mentees. I call them my babies. Those are most of my Facebook friends. And it allows me to keep in touch with them and they with me and see, what they're doing. And, Many of them have done quite well. I'm very proud of them, and I try to remain accessible because I think that's important. We have enough negativity and foolishness going on. It's important to have people who will speak positivity into one's life and give them support or encouragement or help them in the direction that they are desiring to go to reach their goals. We only go at this one time.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
there's no do-overs.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, it's similar, like we said, week after week. How I, made this show come about was to reach the disability community and to give us a voice. And it's also, I guess, I've heard from some people, it has been touching some people who are non-disabled as well, which is a big time achievement in itself for me, because it started with just trying to touch the disability community, and it's been reaching out to people that are non-disabled, which I do thank them as well, and I appreciate everybody, of course, that watches our show each and every week.
You and Fred are examples. Very good.
I mean, we try.
We try, man.
No.
Ain't easy, but we
you're
try.
doing it. You're not trying. You're doing it. And that's important for both of you guys to acknowledge. You're not trying, and I say that with respect to. I mean, I know many of us get caught up in that becomes part of our lingo, but you're actually doing it. So you are inspiring others, both disabled and non-disabled. Yeah. And I'm honored to be sitting between both of you.
Well, we appreciate it. I mean, it's funny. Just the other night, Freddie and me were talking, and I said, I'm just an average guy, just doing what I do. I don't ever look at myself as a celebrity or even a role model. I even told Freddie, I'm not a role model. I'm just your average guy. I work at a job. I work at the arena downtown Bridgeport. I work at the baseball field downtown Bridgeport as well. And I work a 9 to 5. Of course, academically, school didn't. I mean, I finished high school in 2008, but academically, I wasn't where I was supposed to be. So college never really had a future for me because of academic-wise.
It's still there though.
So
whenever you're ready.
So because
it's never
of that,
too late.
I mean, I did try. No,
you can come back.
I tried, and I had financial aid, and because of academic reasons, I failed, unfortunately. So then I just kind of focused more on my work of 9 to 5 and trying to make a living every day because I said, and they always say, not to knock you guys because you are about to graduate college, you work at a college, but they always say college is not for everybody, but life has to be for everybody, and everybody has to make a living. Yes. No matter if you have a degree, a master's, or you just a guy or a woman who works 9 to 5, you have to survive and you have to make a living. So that was where my focus has been for the last, I want to say maybe 10 years.
Okay.
Or so, and now adding on to doing this and to doing some hip hop music, as Freddie knows.
Okay.
He's about to have an album drop.
Okay.
Or a mixtape, but okay, I guess 14 more tracks. Then I guess that's considered an album. But I mean, a lot of my negative, I try to turn it positive, and then I try to give it back because I know a lot of people in my neighborhood and a lot of people in our situation have a lot of that negativity because of where they're at or what they go through. So I try to turn that what is negative into a positive.
Right.
But like you said, it's like giving back because I have been blessed and been lucky enough to be in good health and to have the little that I do have. I have my own apartment and all that stuff. So to have all that stuff, it's a blessing itself. So if this helps to give back to my community and to people near and far, then I'm honored to do so.
I hear you.
I mean,
I think Freddie, you kind of shocked it. But
I mean, dude, I've been with you since I was 5. So we were separated for 13 years, as we've said on the show, folks. But seeing you do what you do inspires me. Now, I'm about to graduate college. Let me tell you something, dude. I told you before we came on, I'm nervous as heck. I'm running around doing schoolwork, trying to make sure that gets done, trying to make sure this gets done. Then it's like, okay, what happens next? And I'll tell you, I sat in Ty Guy's office last week, and for that hour and a half, that really did help. So I want to publicly thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate you doing it.
More than welcome. That's the least we can do.
Yeah.
That's the least we can do.
But definitely, guys, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there, you can tweet us at our Twitter page. You can also watch this episode, new episodes, and old episodes on our YouTube channel there. And give us your comments and your opinions on our Facebook page, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there. And, of course, you can also email us at the email address at the bottom of your screen. We value your opinions, and we want to know what you like about these shows and don't like about these shows and want to see more of, see less of. So, please don't be shy to
feel free to drop us a line. But also know that each and every Thursday or Monday, new episodes will be added to the YouTube channel.
Thank you for that public service announcement. But I mean,
we do it every week.
But yeah, going back to what you're saying, but all of it started for me. It all began with, like I said, with my mentor. It all began this whole journey where I'm at now, and just my goal is just always to go forward.
Right. Well, you guys are mentors now yourselves, so.
Well, like I said, we try.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But we are coming close to the end of our show here tonight. Any last words, guys?
My thing is just follow your dreams, follow your passions, because you never know where it's going to end up.
Well said.
Well said. For me, I just want to say, if you have a mentor, always try to keep in touch with them. Always appreciate what they do, even if you don't. Talk to them later down the road or have them around down the road, because everybody needs somebody, and nobody gets where they're going without somebody to help them get where they are.
Very good.
But I guess with that said, we got to get out of here. So I'm David King.
I'm Fred Cilbrith.
And this is Ty Guy. Thank you, and have a good night.